Colombia's Agencia Nacional de Hidrocarburos was formed in 2003 in response to the need for a separate regulatory and administrative body. Here with me today to talk about Colombia's hydrocarbons industry is Vice Minister of Mines and Energy, Orlando Cabrales. Orlando, welcome.
Thank you very much, Nick. I'm very pleased to be here.
Colombia's hydrocarbon sector has seen some impressive changes in the last decade. Tell us more about these developments.
Yes, I mean, really the Colombian energy sector has experienced a huge transformation over the last 10 years. We have almost doubled our crude production over the last 7 years. We are producing more than 1 million barrels of oil per day. In terms of exploration, we have been increasing also our exploration indicators. Last year, we achieved a record figure in the country. 131 exploratory wells were drilled last year. So it is a significant transformation what we have experienced over the last 10 years.
So what is the importance of the reserves production factor in the development of the sector?
Well, one of the key challenges for Colombia going forward is to increase our RP ratio, I mean reserves production ratio. Today our ratio is seven years, which is not much. We have also been increasing our reserve numbers. Last year we ended up with almost 2.4 billion barrels of crude oil, which is not much. So our main challenge remains to increase the incorporation of our reserves and increase that RP ratio.
Tell us more about the reserves that you currently have and the technology you're using to track these reserves.
Well, the incorporation of reserves that we have been having over the last years comes mainly from increasing the recovery factor of our existing fields. Today, on average, the recovery factor in Colombia is about 18–19%. So we have planned to increase that number by 10% over the following 20 years. By doing that, we can add up 3 billion barrels of oil reserves. That is number one. Number two is to open up new frontiers, new exploration frontiers. I'm talking about unconventional, say CVM, coal bed methane, shale gas, tight oil, as well as the offshore, the Caribbean offshore. And I would say the third one is by continuing doing what we have done over the last years. We have a very good potential in the Llanos Basin, in the Caguán-Putumayo Basin. So we are expecting to see more results over the following years in heavy oil.
Now, production has grown faster than your transportation capabilities. So what are you doing to address this?
That is correct. Our production, as I said, grew much faster than our transportation capacity. We are expecting an investment of about $5 billion over the following years to increase our transportation capacity. There is one project which is going to add up 120,000 barrels per day, which is the phase number one of what we call the Bicentenario pipeline. And we have a project which is in the early stages, very early stages, which is to build a facility, a pipeline to the Pacific. The vast majority of our transportation capacity goes to the Caribbean, to the Atlantic, and we believe it makes all sense to have a transportation capacity to the Pacific. In principle, that will be a project of 250,000 barrels per day. But as I said, it is in the early stages.
Aside from conventional extraction, how are you turning towards newer reservoirs such as shale oil and gas?
Well, last year we set up a new fiscal and contractual framework to attract investment into the unconventionals. And we took several measures. The first one Congress approved, our Colombian Congress approved a 40% discount of the existing royalty rates. So that's number one. Number two, we extended the development period for companies to develop these resources from 24 years up to 30 years. We also increase the trigger in our windfall profit provision from $50 per barrel up to $81 per barrel. So overall, we believe and we have seen that the measures were well received by the investors community, and we are expecting to have a significant investment in the unconventionals in the following years.
Finally, what are some of the challenges that Colombia's hydrocarbons sector might face in the future?
As we mentioned, the increase in the RP ratio is one of the challenges to keep the good momentum we have achieved by having more exploration activity, by at least keeping the production levels we are having, to further incentivize exploration in gas reservoirs. We also have a challenge of improving the time we are taking to grant environmental licenses to the activities, to exploration and production activities in the country. So I would say those are the main challenges we are having for Colombia.
Orlando, thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you for inviting me.